Hello. We are making a video with the baby dog. It is a beautiful to see yourself. Oh, he just saw himself. Oh my gosh. He saw he saw himself in the monitor. Oh my goodness. You are so smart. Oh my goodness. You saw yourself in the video. You thought that's a different dog. He doesn't react much to his mirror image, but for some reason he saw himself in this video monitor. That is very interesting. Oh my god. So that's very good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. It is a nice day today. He has rosin stuck to his butt. I'll have to clean that up tomorrow. So, tree rosin, I'm guessing. So, okay. So, I want to read a poem that I just wrote for Paul. It is a beautiful, beautiful poem. And let me see if I can do it here. So, I don't know if this is gonna work, but no idea. I don't know. Seems to be very difficult always. So, I don't even know if this is still running. So, still running. Okay, that is good. Okay. Oh, at least that works. So I'm gonna put this back on full. Okay, poem for Paul. Poem for Paul. Today is your birthday and you are 70. And today is a beautiful day on August 23. The sun is shining onto our lovely flowers. I smile seeing you happy with flower powers. The Bigfoot monster is running to Adin, California, because our world is still good like Garden Eden. That is a silly poem, but I like it. So, it's still good. So, the world is still good here. Even though it's rough out there. Okay, it's rough out there in so many other places, even in California. It's very sad. They're spraying pesticides. And so now I want to get to the subject that I want to talk about in this video, which is Bigfoot monsters. So, I used to be extremely skeptical about this. It didn't seem to make much sense, all of that. Where do they come up with such an idea? It's like, or did they ever come up with an idea? Maybe it's real, right? So that's why they came up with the idea. So I really had to, over the years, I had to revise all of my skepticism, and I had to look at it full force. I had to read everything I can find. I had to watch documentary films. I'm pretty good at sorting out the scams and the lies and the sensationalist type of films versus the actual cases where people reported things, and and some of them are actually forest rangers, some of them are police officers, when there are people also, or military type of people. Those type of people are usually very austere when it comes to those kind of stories, right? They're very skeptical. They always try to find a more known explanation Okay, so known is reason. The other stuff is usually regarded as not so reasonable, which I understand. I've been there myself. So for I would say most of my life, I have been agnostic, atheist, skeptic, all of that. But the more I learn from many different sources, the more I have to rethink all of this, because why do all of these different, very different people come forward with stories that they have experienced? And then I also see that that most people are very afraid of the Bigfoot monsters. So then I have to think about this, if they look like they're shown in photographs, then wouldn't it be more reasonable to look at the evolution and see how they evolved and why they evolved the way they did and how they are related to us? I mean, that would be a good thing to do, right? And then we should also look at these reports of people and not get carried away with these people's fears. I don't want these people's fears. I don't share them. So if they want to be hysterical and get a heart attack or fall while they're fleeing to their cars away from those still standing Bigfoot monsters that are just looking at them, and the Bigfoot monsters are also a little bit startled too. So, and they're just standing there, and many of them seem to want to get people's attention. Okay, so there was one case where seems like a female mother Bigfoot was crying pitifully for 3 hours, just like 30 feet away from someone's van where they're sleeping in the van. A couple was sleeping in the van on the trailhead, and Bigfoot mother sits there. She didn't want to disturb their sleep. She didn't want to scare them, but she also wanted to sit somewhere near people, getting some kind of comfort from this proximity, right? Like something must have happened because she was crying pitifully. So, and I believe that story. I really do. I believe it. And then there are cases where there were hunters that encountered male Bigfoot monsters, and they were of course shitting in their pants and all of that and fleeing, and some of the Bigfoot monsters were a little authoritarian, which I understand. It's like, how dare you go out there with your gun and your rifle and shoot animals, okay? How dare you go into the animals' home, the forest, and shoot innocent beings, okay? So, seems to me, from all these stories that I hear, that the Bigfoot monsters are actually gentle giants. They care very deeply about all their animal cousins, okay? So, they don't want hunters to come there and shoot them. They don't want people from the city to come there and poison and spray pesticides. No, they don't want any of these things. Who knows? Maybe a hunter shot Bigfoot baby, right? And the mother is in despair and trying to get someone's attention, trying to get help. Like, do something, help me. Become active, become an activist, speak out, like some kind of hope that maybe someone would listen. Why are humans crazy? What's going on? Why are they so insane? Why are they destroying the world around them? Are they deranged? Yeah, you bet they are, okay? I am not afraid of the Bigfoot monsters. I'm afraid of deranged humans. Okay? So, that's all there is to it, okay? So, anyone who's deranged, a hunter, that's why I never have felt safe with this idea. Paul wanted to buy land when we first came here with our motorhome. Traveled for 3 years in a large motorhome because we wanted to see the different places and we wanted to compare and see where we feel the best. We come here because it has high air, moisture. I got electric shocks in Reno. So that's what drove me back to this area. Or we would have stayed there. We would have gone further north and explored the areas that I fell in love with now. Okay, so I didn't understand why I got all these electric shocks. It was some kind of soul school message that sent me back to this area where it's moist. So, but then you have mold, so there's always plus and minus with everything. But we have the giant redwoods here, and we have incredible forests. So, and I love incredible forests, but I feel a little scared to go into a forest, not because of the Bigfoot monsters, but because of organ hunters, human traffickers, organized crime. Okay, so that's what scares me the absolute most. So then people reported that the eyes were glowing red, even in the dark, without shining a light at them, at the Bigfoot monster. So that was something that was too far out there for me in the past to take that seriously. It's like, oh, now they're all even shining red. That's just another monster fiction story, and people need that for their own entertainment. But now I think about it. Why do their eyes glow red in the dark? So, think about this for a moment. If they live here in this northern, moist, very, very heavily forested region, then even in the summertime, the sun goes down behind the mountains and it plunges the forest very fast into darkness. And in order to navigate, they must have some kind of infrared vision technology that genetically evolved, okay, over millions and millions and millions of years. So they have to be able to see in the dark, obviously, because it's pitch dark in the forest at night. Unless the moon is out, but with very dense vegetation, it's very difficult to see through the trees. When even with the moon out, you might see some shadows, but it's very dark. So they have to see, obviously, in order to live, in order to survive. Seems to me they are not even hunters. They don't even eat animals. Seems to me they might actually live on trees, on the leaves. So they eat leaves, they eat roots, mushrooms, berries. They evolved to find all of these amazing foods that are there that people would be afraid to touch because they don't know anything about it. But the Bigfoot monsters, they evolved to learn about all the vegetation. So And they're very caring, very gentle. But they don't want hikers to come in there with their tents and cause light pollution and fight with each other or bring their guns. Okay, so they really don't want that to happen. They don't like it. And in some cases, there were individual solo hiker women. And now I heard similar stories now from different people. Okay, solo hiker women. So, what do you think of solo hiker women? Okay, they put themselves in harm's way, not because of the Bigfoot monsters, but because of human traffickers. And I talked about this before in my videos. I have this intuition that the human traffickers, the way they snatch up solo hikers, also men of course, but particularly women are at the highest risk for many different reasons, and you can figure that out on your own. But young people in particular are sought after by these organized criminals. They buy old or even barely used medical helicopters. So behind that is a conglomerate. Okay, it's a multi-trillion-dollar conglomerate that is behind the scenes, that is obviously not legal, but the people that are running these industries, they have so much leverage that they can buy politicians, they can buy forest rangers or any law enforcement officer, they can buy hospitals, they can buy the FBI, the CIA, which they have already. This has been going on for many decades. They own these institutions, okay? So they can just take any old or even a new medical helicopter, even with the right emblems on it, with the right text on it, yeah, US, whatever, and US ambulance or hospital or whatever, official red medical helicopters, right? They'll take those, they will cruise over Yosemite, for example. They see a lone hiker like Sandra Hughes, and they go, oh, so there is a solo hiker, a woman. Okay, she doesn't have a dog. She seems to be all by herself. Okay, hiking for miles and miles. They can just descend down, and they can even make up a story with someone like that. And the person sees, oh, official medical helicopter, you know. They don't even wrap their heads around the magnitude of organized crime. They can't even imagine how untrustworthy those kind of conglomerates are. Okay, so they'll go, okay, here is my idea, whatever. We need you to come into the helicopter. You need to sign something here, a witness testimonial or something. She trusts them, goes into the... I'm just speculating now, but seems to be what's going on. She goes into the medical helicopter. Okay, then once she sits in there, they might even just give her a drink, right? You must be thirsty, here, some water. So water with fentanyl in it, or ambient, or whatever these names are, right? Ambien, or any kind of quaalude, any kind of drug that makes people forget, that makes people instantly drugged up, where they can't even defend themselves anymore, or puts them completely under. And then they go out, they fetch her tent, what they did in her case, they took her sleeping bag out and her backpack and put that in a helicopter. Then they demolished the tent and made it look like bears clawed through it. Then they fly off with her, drugged up and incapacitated. Then they scatter her belongings in different places to make it look like she got lost. They know how to do all of this to mislead the trail, right? So her sleeping bag was found in a completely different location, several miles away, than her backpack in another location, and she was never found. Okay. Then, like a year later or so, a little boy was driving with his family through Yosemite, past some of those trails. They didn't go hiking very long, but they went out there to enjoy nature. And the little boy was like 4 years old or so, and he suddenly says, "There is a woman in the field. I can see her. Her legs are up. She's dead. And she's telling me, you must go out and you need to help. You need to help me. I need your help. I need your help with this." She didn't say what she needed help with, but no one saw anything. That freaked the family out. But they went back down to the main parking lot where Sandra Yu's photo was displayed everywhere. Different photos of her. Have you seen this woman, Sandra Lynn Johnson Hughes? And they showed the little boy the photos, which is nice of the parents that they didn't discredit him. And he says, yes, that's the woman he saw in the field. She is dead and her legs are up. So it's kind of, how do you put the legs up in an open field, right? So how can you be dead in suspension in half air, right? Obviously what he was seeing was the image of her being dead, dumped into a very large dumpster type of thing where she was dumped together with many other bodies, okay? And the way she fell in there obviously had her legs up. And that's the only thing I can explain this with, okay? So, and everything's energy. Sandra Hughes, having seen not only what happened to her body, but what happened to thousands of other bodies as well. Organ hunters coming after them. Okay. So that's why she asked the only human that was receptive to her message and showed him the image. Showed herself in this form, to not in a threatening or dangerous or scary form, but in a very clear message. You're the only one who can understand and see and hear this message. I need your help. Please help me with this. Report to others and go to the police and tell them what you saw. And that's all she could do as a ghost. Okay, so they go to the police, they report everything that the little boy saw, and he confirmed it is her. And so the story was noted. The story became very famous, and many people have reported about this. This is probably the most creepy story of all of them, because it involves a message from a ghost. Okay, so, and many people will discredit this, and that's why the string holders, with their organized crime conglomerates, they're not even afraid of something like this, of some testimonial like this, because they know that the majority of people will brush that off as just fantasy of a little child who has too much imagination. That's what they always attribute this to, okay? So I've heard it too many times. But children are still in a receptive state. Not all children even, but there are more children that are in this receptive state than there are adults, for sure. Because the older you get, the more you are becoming biased and the more you become brainwashed in many different ways. Okay, so the biggest brainwash scam is actually the one where they tell people they're crazy. Okay, the shaming scam is like the crazy shaming. Okay, that's really the biggest scam of all, and most people fell for it because no one wants to be labeled crazy. No one wants to be seen like this by others, and not just because they would feel embarrassed, but also because they know that their job might be at stake, or their credibility as a professor at the university. Okay, they might even get fired, and they have been now. More and more and more this has been going on. If you don't agree with the string holder brainwash, you get fired. Okay, so that's how they operate. And the string holders have been getting more and more and more frenzied with these kind of things. So that should tell us something. That should clearly tell us, oh, they're getting frenzied now with their propaganda and all of that. Why? Because more and more people are becoming aware. That's why. Okay, so more and more people are starting to doubt the official narrative. They are looking behind those official facades. People are starting to research things. They see the incongruencies are mounting up. Okay, so people are starting to understand this world we live in. This is not linear. Okay, this is not even concrete 3D. Okay, this is not materialistic. This world we live in. It's a convoluted universe where everything is based on energy. Okay? Energy creates atoms. Different atoms together create molecules. Molecules create matter. But behind all of this is the ether. Okay? It starts all with the ether. A thought is an energy field in the ether. Okay? So I'm starting to understand this whole picture now. Okay, it's not like, oh, I can rest now, everything is under control. No, it's very, very unsettling. It's very uncertain, to say the least. Okay, the world we live in is all I got bitten by a large mosquito. I'm gonna have to put some zinc oxide on it. Dang! I couldn't even catch this. You asshole, you. So, how dare you? But, yeah, the world is uncertain. Being bitten by a mosquito is the least of my concerns. Okay? So, what concerns me more is to have a needle jammed into my arm and blood extracted until I have bled out. Okay. That's much worse than a little itty bitty mosquito, right? The blood mobile scares me more than the mosquito, okay? I'm starting to become really paranoid But as they always say, the paranoid rich person is the safe rich person. And yes, it applies to us too, the ones who are not rich. So, yeah, that is basically the premise I go by now. Okay, let's be safe rather than sorry. Sometimes I might be mistaken, right? But I'd rather be mistaken than be unpleasantly surprised, to say the least. Okay, so, but I'm getting it now. I start to see it. And I'm very sad about all of this. I'm very sad that there are so many humans who will put money over literally everything. They spray poisons now because the pesticide lobby has grown under Barack Obama to the point he even hired the pesticide lobby main CEO in a case of vested interest into the head of the Department of Agriculture. It's like, whoa, wake up, okay? So, that's a crime against this country. It's a crime on nature, what Barack Obama has done. And what the CEO of, I don't know which company that was, Eli Lilly or Monsanto. I think Monsanto. That was when they were still corporation. So then someone else won a lawsuit. I'm glad won a lawsuit against Monsanto, but when you're dealing with a conglomerate like this, all they do is pack up their suitcase and go somewhere else. Okay? All they do is take the money out of their bank account and put it into a different bank account. In the Cayman Islands, in Switzerland, in Zurich, okay? So they know how to navigate their monopoly around. They know very well. So how does one person, one innocent, naive person see through all of this? They count on your ignorance, these people. They live on it. But more and more people are waking up now, and so they're getting more and more frenzied. And they're, like someone who is caught in the act, who will then start to contradict himself more frequently in an interrogation. That's exactly how they are acting now. And they know, and Dr. Fauci knows that his time is counted. Okay, so his time being a total free jerk is counted. So it's going to come to an end now, whether he likes it or not, and he knows it. And I can see it in his face, this smug asshole. His smugness is crumbling now. Okay, he sees that he's obviously not the invincible God that he thought he was. He thinks of himself, he is so deluded, this guy, that I just heard recently from someone who knew him. He thinks he's also the hottest guy. It's like, whoa, he's like 83, he doesn't look that good anymore, okay? Sorry about that, but, you don't want to be deluded like this. But he still thinks he can have every chick in the world. They're all falling for him. Oh, whoa. I mean, that just gives you a little glimpse on how these people navigate through life. That's why they are so fearless, because they're so utterly deluded and full of themselves. That's what a psychopath is. The classic psychopath has no fear. They think they're the greatest God. Okay? They have everyone under their control. They can buy anyone. And what makes me mad is that people allow this. that people let themselves be bought by people like this. That makes me more mad even than the jerk. So don't allow this. Don't let someone buy you. Don't silence yourself for money. Just don't do it. What do you want for this world that we live in? This is your world too. This is everybody's world, the animals' world, the Bigfoot monsters' world. And they're getting pretty mad at humans. And I fully understand. So if I was in a forest, of course I would, my heart would be beating if I encountered one. But if you are standing face to face with a Bigfoot monster in a forest, there's no way you can run or outrun this large being, right? They'll catch up with you very fast if they wanted to, but they don't. They just stand there. They want to transfer a message to them. Most people are so dulled down by brainwash, they don't hear the message. Okay, that little boy was fresh enough and open enough, okay, attuned enough to hear a message from another entity. He would also hear the message from a Bigfoot monster or from any animal, you know. A lot of children are very open. For heaven's sake, Blue God, protect all children. Okay. For heaven's sake, Blue God, please protect all babies, children, animals. All. The pigs, the girls, the boys, everyone. Protect them, Blue God. Protect them from psychopaths like Dr. Fauci. So I don't know about Podesta and Hillary Clinton. So I just can't imagine that Hillary Clinton is involved with human trafficking. I just cannot. I'm sorry. So you can hate me all you want, but I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. Hillary Clinton is not a monster. Okay. This is all slander. It's systematic slander against her. And when you see someone be so witch hunted, no one was ever as witch hunted by the media as Hillary Clinton was. And a witch hunt that was going so deep into movies and shows and talk shows and random people, assholes coming up with accusations and so on. They're being paid for it. Hillary Clinton is not a monster. She cried when she was campaigning to become president in 2008. She cried. Someone asked her, how do you even cope with this? She cried. She said, I care about this country. I don't want this country to go down. And of course, Barack Obama got fraudulently elected, and Hillary Clinton was just in total despair. And what does someone do in a situation like this, you know? Then of course the smug people, the smug corporate string holders, they'll say, oh, don't worry, I'll let you be in a different office. Yeah, where you can't do anything against us, where your hands are tied, right? So you can negotiate with other countries. You're good at that. They'll take you seriously. They think you're legitimate, which you are. But we're not letting you be in a more legislative position in the White House. So Barack Obama did everything the string holders told him. Complete puppet, okay? But I absolutely don't buy into the witch hunt against Hillary Clinton. I just don't. There were times where I was like, wow, man, I wonder, you know, that's awful sad. Felt like that is so depressing, you know. And then I realized, this ardent witch hunt against this one woman, that's only coming from one source. And when they're doing this witch hunt, this MK Ultra psychological operation against one person, against one politician, then that tells me something. That tells me that the stringholders who put out the propaganda against the person, that they are terrified of that person. And if they are terrified of someone, then maybe that person is not so bad after all, right? So maybe our intuition about Hillary Clinton, Paul and I are very intuitive about people and their legitimacy. He has second thoughts now, he has doubts, but I'm coming back to where I stood in 2008. Hillary Clinton is a very hard-working and dedicated person who wants to make this country and the world better. Okay, she does. And that's why the stringholders feared her so much. So they compromise her, they put her in a different position. They take any kind of legislation out of her hands, put it in the wrong hands, in the meat puppets' hands, into the hands of Barack Obama and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Kamala Harris. Those are the stringholders' favorite meat puppets. They'll do anything that they're being told because they get paid for it. Anything for money. It's disgusting. Okay, I'm sorry. It's despicable. That's what it is. And I'm very, very angry about this. But Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, I don't even think they understand how rotten these stringholder societies are. They are even friends with some people, and they don't understand how bad some of these people are. Not all of them are, but there is a large amount of people among the stringholders and also their puppet politicians that are really, really rotten people, that are evil, they're insane, they're deranged, these people. And I absolutely believe that many of them are involved with this Bohemian Grove society and the worship of specific mythological figures and stuff like that, and devil and Baal and whatever they call it. Okay, so like a satanic type of cult, and they absolutely abuse the occult. And that's exactly what Helena Petrovna Blavatsky told everyone in the beginning of her secret doctrines. She said, do not use the occult for selfish reasons, okay, for your own selfish advances. Don't use it for that. And that's exactly what this cult is doing. And they have all kinds of shit beliefs, that they think that blood is going to make them powerful. It isn't. It just destroys their liver. They're so deranged, these people. It's beyond measure. Many of them need to be euthanized. They're dangerous to society. Okay, so, but it's not Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Al Gore. Those are good people. I really strongly stand for that. Okay, so, but, the Bigfoot monsters, I'm not 100% sure that this is not just a mythology, but I'm leaning towards believing it. Because there are all kinds of beings in the world. There are species that people have not even detected. And the Bigfoot monsters, they're apes, okay? So they are related to gorillas. And gorillas are very peaceful beings, okay? So, and they live in a very cold climate, unlike the gorillas. Gorillas live in Africa, in the Congo, at the equator. But they also have hair because they need to protect their skin from the sun and all of this. But here in this region, they need a real heavy wool winter coat. Okay, so they need to be really guarded from the ice temperatures. It goes way below freezing. So, and where do they come from? I'm guessing, okay, that many millions of years ago, that our lineage that we come from look like that, okay? So they were the so-called ape humans. And, of course, many millions of years they have isolated themselves away from us, so they could have since then also have evolved from that grandfather state that they used to be in, where we had a common ancestor with them. Okay, I hear something there, but I know it's not a Bigfoot monster because we're not anywhere near this, but I would get a heart attack if I saw one. But I'm not afraid. They are not the ones that make me afraid. They are not the ones that freak me out when I go into the backyard at night, or when I go into a forest in the dark, or when we're out in the desert, and even though you can see for hundreds of miles into all directions, I always see different shades and shapes, and because of the way the moon falls and stuff like that. But I am not afraid of any other being other than humans. Not to this degree. I would be afraid, of course, of a bear, but even a bear, they're very intelligent too. So a bear can see whether you love the bear. Bigfoot monster can read your mind on that, whether you love them. So if you have love in them, you don't have anything to fear. Okay, but whether you have love or not love, you have a lot to fear about human traffickers and organ hunters. That's a fact. Okay, so there's one story after another story. It's just thousands of those stories that are out there. Most of them I believe, absolutely believe it. Maybe some of them are fake, but I absolutely believe that this stuff is going on. They can't find anything with searches for missing people, nothing in a range of hundreds of miles. And then 6 months later, a hiker finds a pile of bleached bones of that missing person in the range that had been combed through with bloodhounds. So, where do these bleached bones come from all of a sudden? Obviously, the person who had been trafficked and used for everything that this body had. Okay. Until they were finished and through, had drained all the blood, had taken the organs, sold it to the highest bidder, And we're done with that body. Now the body had to be dealt with. And what did they do? They put the body in some kind of acid solution. They isolate the bones. They bleach the bones away from any kind of evidence that could be on it. And then they are completely cleaned and bleached, put into a pile under a tree. And then people don't even ask any question at all. My goodness, why are these bones bleed? Happened in South America too. Happens all over the Americas. Okay, so all over the place. And particularly in forests, this is going on with hikers all the time. Okay, so think about this for a moment. Do some research. Don't dismiss these things. Okay. The dangerous being is the human psychopath. Okay. And no other being. That's a fact. So, yeah, I think I covered it all just regarding the Bigfoot monsters. They are ape humans and they have evolved a bit away from our common ancestor. Of course, they're our cousins now. But we have a common ancestor with them millions of years ago. I don't know how far. I'm not an expert on this, but just from what I'm reading, it must have been at least maybe 10 million years ago. Okay, so it's my guess. And there were ape-human populations, not vastly populated. Not anything what humans are doing today. Okay, a couple of thousands just. So they evolved. Okay, on Earth. They adapted to the cold climate. They grew taller. They walk upright. They're very strong. Okay, they're very smart. They're capable. Right? So at some point the ETs came. ET ship came, and they wanted to do a mining operation, and they see the ape humans, and the ape humans, they don't understand this technology at all. The ape humans are just in shock and in awe of this ship and their technology, just can't wrap their heads around it. They want the ape humans to help them with things, but the ape humans don't understand much of it, so they can't even be hired for many different jobs. So what they do is they take the DNA of an ape human. Let's say they take a female Bigfoot monster, right? A female ape human, and they take some sample out of her, whatever, maybe even from her hair, and they do gene splicing. Okay. They splice their own DNA into it. They have been doing this probably for millions of years, these ETs, right? They're very advanced. So they know what they're doing. They inject the zygote back into the womb of the ape human, and then the ape human will give birth to a hybrid. Okay, so, and then maybe some variations came out of it that were not foreseen. Maybe they were suddenly larger, and they didn't have the growth hormone block in the brain, and like Tony Robbins, So I don't know. I'm just speculating because of all these stories that are out there. So the first hybrid may have been like Adam and Eve, like the Neanderthals, and then they had children. The hybrids had children. And what is this going on? And then maybe the hybrids had children, and they came out larger or whatever. You don't know what you're dealing with when you're experimenting with those type of things, right? But I think I'm just speculating on it. And Blue God says 5444. So maybe I am right about this. Maybe my speculations are true. Who knows? But anyway, peace and love for all living beings.